Hey everyone, welcome to Talent Alchemy. So, on my last episode, I talked about starting a mini skills ecosystem series where I will bring in our key open skill ecosystem partners to really get to know them, their capabilities, their product offerings, how they integrate with success factors and Talent Intelligence Hub, what sets them apart from other partners, and where they are headed next. So, for the very first episode, I'm excited to kick things off with TalenTeam and its CEO and founder, Sandeep Nahata. TalentTeam is a SAP Gold partner that has helped many SAP customers through their digital talent and skills transformation journey. Sandeep and his team, they are also behind award-winning solutions like the Blend Learning Experience Platform. And under his leadership, TalentTeam has consistently earned some of the highest partner satisfaction ratings across the SAP ecosystem. Welcome back to Talent Alchemy.
Thanks, Rinky. Thanks for that fantastic intro. I'm really pleased to be here. And obviously, I've been working with you for a while now around this. So, really excited to have this conversation going.
Absolutely. And you are actually my first guest who is coming twice. You were in the release roundtable too. Can you give us a quick intro to Talent Team and what problem you have been solving?
Absolutely. So, Talent Team was formed about 14 years ago, and we were born out of SuccessFactors actually. So, I used to work for SAP SuccessFactors, implementing and running projects. Then I started up Talent Team about 14 years ago. The key reason behind starting Talent Team was because of my background with the passion for working with customers and what we were driving. I wanted to be able to see the customers go not just at the point of go live, but being able to be part of the outcome that they deliver, be able to be part of the entire journey, and the ability to solve challenges beyond what a software could do. So that's really the mindset that we started Talent Team. Our core focus and the only thing we do is around success factors. Our sole purpose, vision, mission is to help customers get the best out of success factors, and we do that through a wide variety of capabilities.
Can you describe what is your core philosophy when working with customers?
It took me a while to really get that definition out because we knew we were doing something different. But most customers that we speak to, beyond kind of talking about the quality and everything that we can deliver, I think the one thing that comes out consistently from customers is that customers say they felt like that we were one team, that we were really an extension of the team. We weren't necessarily always thinking like a vendor, but we, will call out customers on what they need to be thinking about and even do a lot of the thinking for them. So they truly felt like whenever they're working with Talent Team, we work as one project, one team as such. As I said, I think our mission has always been helping customers get the most out of success factors. And through that philosophy, I think, while yes, we tend to operate within scope, but the advisory, the service that we provide typically tends to go beyond that in terms of the outcome that the customers can get.
Yeah, that's great. You are a true partner, and I've really heard that from a lot of customers. So, no doubt there. Let's talk about Talent Team's core capabilities, your product offering across the success factors landscape.
Yeah. So when we started 14 years ago, it was really more around the services and implementation. So being able to implement the SAP solutions, success factor solutions, but also post go live, being able to support customers with our expert support capabilities as well. About 8 years ago or so, there was a customer that came with a very specific challenge which wasn't met by success factors. And that's really where we worked with that customer, co-developed a solution on BTP as an extension. So being able to produce additional applications as extensions to success factors. That really opened Talent Team up in a very different way, and gave us a strong direction because having worked with success factors for over 23 years now, I think we truly understand the capabilities of success factors, understand the kind of, the add-on capabilities that customers expect from the system, the gaps, and be able to help add that value.
Yeah.
So over these 8 years, we've been looking at areas where we are able to add that direct value to customers, whether that's a solution like Blend Learning Experience Platform or plenty of other solutions, whether it's carrying out observations for for any sort of a tracking of activities or the skills-based solutions that Talent Team offers. All of these have come out of true customer challenges, and most of these products have been co-developed with customers as a partner.
Sandeep, can you talk a bit about Blend, your learning experience platform?
Absolutely. So Blend as a learning experience platform is truly the only learning experience platform that's out there available, which is built wholly and very specifically for success factors. That's the only learning system that we extend. And it really truly transforms the experience that a learner can have, being able to combine content from virtually any source all in one place, providing a social collaborative experience which is heavily personalized to an organization. At the same time, carrying out a lot of the consumer capabilities, the social capabilities that people expect, like playlists or being able to share content with their colleagues, badges, gamifications, all of those user engagement elements coming into one place, driving heavy success across all of our customers.
And is that something customers can also use in their smartphones?
Absolutely. So mobile first, I think, with especially when it comes to learning and bite-sized learning, when we talk about, I think it has to be something that's available on the mobile phone and being for users to be able to access anywhere at any point. So absolutely. So it's available on mobile as well.
Okay, awesome. Let's talk about the integration with Talent Intelligence Hub. I think that's where you all are adding a lot of value as part of the open skill ecosystem partners. So can you just elaborate on the capabilities, how you integrate with Talent Intelligence Hub, and how you complement customers in their skills journey?
Absolutely. So I think for this, rather than just talk as an application provider, I'm probably just going to widen the question a little bit. And
Okay.
when we talk about our implementation approach around our skills transformation for any organization, typically divide that into 5 different streams. So
Okay.
right from, first is business objectives alignment. And all of these 5 streams that I talk about run throughout the project or throughout the skills transformation approach. The first one being business objective alignment. And as we look at that, that starts from defining a skills vision, a business plan around that. And then as the project starts, kind of aligning the skills to business outcomes, being able to engage your stakeholders, getting sponsorships, and during and post the project, being able to look at ROI validation approaches, both pre when you're doing your business case, as well as post in terms of validating that. The second stream is data and skills foundation. So being able to look at your foundational data within SAP SuccessFactors and the data you need to bring in, whether that's setting up a job architecture, a job profiles, a skill library, and then mapping all of these across to the tools. The third layer comes in with skills technology enablement. So enabling these capabilities in SuccessFactors, whether that's Talent Intelligence Hub, career and talent development, integrations into modules, etc. And then comes in change management and launch strategy. And last but not least, operations and governance, which is quite often ignored by customers, but is something very, very critical and important. Where Talent Team comes in is we look at each of these layers, and right when it comes to business objectives and alignment, being able to offer our skills transformation plan or helping customers build a skills business plan with the data and skills foundation, a series of tools and capabilities that are available to help organizations utilize AI capabilities to create job architectures, framework, etc. Of course, given our background in success factors consulting and implementation, and making us quite unique in the sense that we can provide the technology for these data tools, but at the same time, we truly understand and know success factors inside out. So that implementation capability, and then through our strategic consulting advice and advisory, being able to help customers with both the change management as well as the operations and governance strategy.
Yeah, and Sandeep, that's a key point because the solution offering is different, but the services offering that you provide, the implementation, I think that's where a lot of customers are struggling because Talent Intelligence Hub is not just an upgrade. There's more to it. And the skills transformation journey to be a skills based organization that has a lot of facets. Something that truly sets you apart is your services offering where you help the customer, like you said, the advisory, the change management aspect. Let's jump in at your solution offering, the integration with Talent Intelligence Hub.
I'll start kind of from the solution offering. We'll start from the building blocks that are required in success factors to drive a skill strategy. One of the first elements that come in is job architecture. So
Yeah.
organizations having an appropriate job families, job roles, and job profiles that are set up in the system. Now, while some organizations don't have one at all, right? As we come across these, that they've got a bunch of job titles, and others that have a job architecture that was created very specifically for either, from a compensation mindset or a payroll mindset. So there's a need of modernization of these job architectures. So our AI tools can help organizations build one or modernize or develop it further from a capabilities perspective. Once we have the job architecture in place, the next element is defining these job profiles, which is a massive activity for these organizations. Sometimes takes months, right? And even with that months, I think it's very difficult to get to that final output because it requires such wider business alignment and a lot of work in getting these job profiles generated and created. So our AI tool, again, can take a look at your job architecture, take the business context into consideration, and be able to bulk generate these job profiles that you can push out within the business for review and approval. They make any changes, review, approval, and kind of bring that back in. And with a click of a button, they're available in SuccessFactors. This becomes a really important. Again, it's a step that some customers are skipping currently, going by a very light job profile, but there are some important aspects. One, with the EU transparency laws kind of coming in, pay transparency laws coming in, it's important to be able to highlight the duties and responsibilities of any employee and making that transparent.
Absolutely.
So it's important to maintain those job profiles well in the system. But additionally, as the job profiles moves from being more of a back-end object to really a user-facing object in the career development capability, as as employees start to explore different career recommendations come in, they're able to see the job profile now, which makes it really important to maintain a good and living job profile. Last but not least, job profiles where organizations initially created job profiles and left them for years, you can no longer do that because jobs are changing so dynamically now.
Yes.
So you need not a one-time activity, you need that on an ongoing basis. As skills change, be able to reflect that on the job profile. Once you've got the job profiles, you then have the need to profile these roles to skills and build your skill library accordingly. So we utilize our partnership with Lightcast to look at labor market data combined with our own AI inference and capabilities on top to drive the profiling of roles to skills, then profiling learning to skills library, helping you build a skill library within SuccessFactors, and last but not least, being able to even provide validation tools or skill assessment tools, which can be carried out within the system to create skill assessment and proficiency detection more consistently across the platform.
That's awesome. There's this at least one customer that I was talking to. They had mentioned that they're using Chat GPT to create job profiles, and their question was, "How do the open skill ecosystem will help me? I mean, I can already create job profile." So I want to stress on what you just said, that you create industry specific job profile, not just a basic job profile.
I think there's a few things that come into play. One is we look at the job role itself.
Yeah.
We identify the skills that are required based on the labor market data that's available. That's used as one of the signals while creating a job profile. Those may not be the final set of skills that you move forward with. However, that's taken as an input from a market data perspective. Second, we take the organization context into consideration. As an example, we may be working with a renewable energy organization or an organization that's moving towards a renewable energy approach, in which case a lot of the job profiles need to have that reflected in
I
their
mean,
culture. So it's not just about being able to generate that off ChatGPT or being able to get that off the web or from any of the standard sources that where job profiles are available. It's really about making that unique to the organization in your organization's language and speak, being able to tailor those and be able to do that consistently without one person's dependency upon ChatGPT and how well
yeah.
they prompt.
Yeah. From your experience, what do you think? How frequently that needs to be updated? Like once a year, twice a
So
year?
it's a very interesting question, and I apply the same thing to skills areas as well. When I started talking to customers, I think we were talking about whether it's once a year or once in 6 months, etc. However, I think it really does. There are few different triggers. I think it's minimum once in 6 months, right?
Right.
What my suggestion would be for skill
Yeah.
profiling, job profiles can wait a little bit longer. However, you then got to look at the area of the business and how that's currently being influenced by technology and the changing job market. So as an example, when it comes to technology based roles, my recommendation to customers is to have that reviewed every 3 months. You may not necessarily want to push changes every 3 months, but actually execute a review or a delta every 3 months to understand the changes. And for specific roles that have had a heavy change, reflect whether your organization should be adopting those changes, because there could be signals in the market around how job roles are changing. And you as an organization may need to take steps to start to adopt some of those capabilities as well. So it's not just about profiling roles. This can actually give organizations insights that may come months later into
Yeah.
actually what they should be doing.
Yeah. And that's one thing I want customers, if they're listening, to understand that it's not just a one-time effort, because the whole objective is to keep it current based on the labor market, the changing world economics, and the technology, which is key.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's where it becomes important to ensure some organizations I'm talking to have built a skill library by, spending the last 6 months profiling it within the business. That's your static library. Unless you're going to set up a project team, internal project team every year, right?
Yeah.
That becomes static and will be out of date very, very quickly.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the validation and assessment tool, because that's one area where I see a lot of questions from customers, because we, as an SAP Success Factors, we do not provide a validation or assessment tool natively. We depend on our partner ecosystem.
I think this is something where we are starting to look into challenges organizations have and will have as they start to adopt the platform. When we talk about users being able to rate skills in success factors, manager approval, I think there's a few concepts it starts to break. Yes, for job related skills, it's fantastic, right? I can rate myself, I know it, managers can validate. But if we want to capture the whole self of any individual, which could include skills outside of the role that managers may not understand, managers may not be aware of, how do we bring in a consistent way of rating and catching proficiencies of users? Additionally, we also know that there's been many studies shown that show that across gender, so male and females, etc., they rate themselves differently. The number of skills they will add, even with the same capabilities, is actually different. So, how do you ensure that you are able to consistently capture data across your employees? That's where our skill assessment tool comes into play, which looks into the skills of your organization, kind of within the organization, and is able to generate assessments from on any proficiency skill. So whether it's 5 levels or beyond, be able to generate proficiencies. Now, once again, this approach works well about taking an assessment to show my proficiency, but for possibly for most skills, but on certain skills which could be core or critical skills, or for the highest level of skills you may need additional validation as well, like getting endorsement from your colleagues. So you can specify the number of endorsements you need beyond the assessment, and also the ability to actually submit some evidence of me showing that I have done some project work or I've contributed or I've got experience in this before a skill proficiency is awarded to me. So it's configurable, but it can be a simple assessment or it can be a 3-step process
Makes sense.
depending on the skill and the proficiency level.
Okay, so let's talk about some real life examples, some customer stories. Can you share like one customer story that really represents the value talent team brings? What was their biggest challenge when they came to you, and how did you solve that?
So it's a customer we've been working with recently, and it started off quite funny because right in the pre-sales approach, when we presented the solution to the customer told me how annoyed and upset they were because they just spent the last 6 months doing their job profiles manually, and only if they had access to this tool.
I know. That's like 6 months of work, they could have saved. Yeah.
Absolutely. But soon after, the customer has kind of moved forward. A lot of this job profile work was done on Excel spreadsheets or Word documents outside the system. So they have that. We'll be able to utilize that. However, we started with this organization and delivered a job architecture that's completely based through our tools, being able to deliver that for this organization. Once we've delivered that, the organization's now gone ahead and profiled all of the roles with skills, and we are also helping the organization. And this was a tool that didn't exist, but we've been able to do something very specifically for this organization, where we've been able to take their Word documents and in terms of or PDF documents in terms of the job profiles, and actually have them bulk imported into success factors
So,
and mapped across the right job profiles. So again, this would otherwise be a massive task of taking content out of those PDFs or Word documents, getting them into a format that you need in success factors. But utilizing our tools, we've been able to mass migrate that for customers. The next step for this customer, as they launch skills kind of beyond, is looking at tools like skill assessment, etc., as well. But we've been able to deliver the skills, and I think that they've only recently gone live, but the reception's been really good in terms of what they've been able to use. Some of the newer capabilities in success factors on the CTD and TIH area, I think definitely help with the adoption. So I think the story with a minimal use case like this, and we do always recommend starting with a pilot. I think we've got a common
yeah.
suggestion there. on
Yeah,
starting with the
start small, but
base,
start now.
start small,
Yeah.
but yeah. Indeed. So I think, however, about a year ago, I think, unless you had a very good use case within the system, I think there were often challenges in terms of adoption. But with some of the newer capabilities that have come out, that actually gives the user a reason to go and validate, upload their CV to get other skills collected and inferred as well. I think it's been a fantastic reception so far.
From your engagement with all these different customers, what is that one lesson or you think the other organization could learn from who are at the beginning of their skills transformation journey?
I think the biggest lesson that I often tell customers is that this isn't a tech project. It's not a
Right.
technology project.
Yeah.
Don't just start because you have the system and it's included in your licenses. You have a skill library. That's not the reason to start unless you can answer the question how it impacts the business.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to answer that. Quite often, when I ask customers questions, and even if the customers believe that they've got the answers, in terms of, for example, better career development, better learning opportunities, I still don't believe they are the correct answers. So if we engage in the skills planning and the business case, I think it's always about being able to elevate that a level further up and aligning that to business outcomes, because skills truly, I think, when adopted appropriately and successfully rolled out, will have a direct impact on the business outcomes. And if you're able to define those to start with, then you have the ability to measure them appropriately later as well. So my biggest suggestion is ensuring that you have users in mind when implementing anything. And the second part is around business, being able to define business outcomes from the start.
That's great advice. When we talk about this open skill ecosystem, it's a crowded ecosystem, not just for success factors, but in general, there's so many providers out there. You already talked about some of your key USPs. You also bring in the services aspect. You help with post implementation. Is there anything else that we missed? Or
Right from implementations to our products, as well as being able to post implement as well, what kind of sets Talent Team apart beyond the implementations. Given the vision around helping success factors customers get the most out of the solution, Talent Team's also quite uniquely placed in the sense that we are actually helping a lot of our competitors,
Mhm.
what would otherwise be seen as competitors, but they're our partners at this point as well.
Yeah,
So we
yes,
compete and we partner with a lot of these organizations in
yes,
helping drive the solution, because we know that this is the way we are able to get the solution in the correct way across most of the success factors customers, which is the eventual intention. Additionally, as a software vendor as well, one of the things that sets us quite uniquely apart is that our solutions, they're all available. They're available as a software as a subscription, so multi-year models. However, we understand a lot of customers want to start with pilots, so we are one of the only ones who provide our solutions very, very modularly. So you can only take the pieces that you want, and you can take them off as a one-off service
yeah,
while you try it and kind of
yeah.
work it out until you kind of decide to go. So initially on a 1 year contract before you choose to push it out further.
Yeah, interesting. I think that's a great value because a lot of customers are trying to bite small. I think that's a great capability for customers. Let's talk about the road ahead, the innovations, what's interesting coming up, where you are spending most of your think tank right now.
It's a very exciting time where we are right now. Every passing month and kind of what technology brings to us, the possibilities continue to increase. Across all of our tools, there's a very heavy AI driven roadmap that we've currently got. One of the key elements is that we're moving a lot of our applications from purely being applications to being agents, right?
Okay.
So that we then have the ability to connect it into virtually any other agents-based system as well. So whether the organization has their own system and they want to simply connect into our skills agent or our job profile agent, they will have the ability to do so. Whether we look to connect that into as a skill within SAP Joule, so that organizations from within, customers from within success factors within Joule, hopefully, I think once we've been able to kind of implement this roadmap, are able to trigger our solutions purely through a command in Joule,
So like agent to agent
agent
protocol.
to agent. So something we're working on is changing the architecture from moving from purely application to service based to to an agent based architecture. Additionally, when it comes to the employee skills, we're looking at being able to infer skills across all of the success factors data, whether that is, the learning completions that you recently had or your experience, internal or external certifications, being able to combine that data and understand the skills that you may have and recommend certain skills to employees.
Okay.
On the assessments, I think, while the assessment tool, as we presented to organizations, I think has been really well received. However, one thing that it's currently lacking is the ability to, if a customer has a skill that is very specific to the organization, our skills are kind of more on based on generic skills currently. So we're adding the ability to be able to import or attach documents that will be grounded against a certain skill so that we can
Okay.
be able to generate very specific skill assessments aligned with the organization's utilization of those skills or the organization's definition of those skills. Across our products, again, in Blend LXP as well, moving to completely agentic and conversational AI element. So AI underpins what we're doing this year, kind of in
Yeah.
terms of the roadmap.
Yeah.
And it's really about being able to solidify and improve any of our existing capabilities through the lessons we learn, through the feedback we receive from the customers, and working alongside our customers.
Okay, that's awesome. And I would love to see whenever you have your prototype ready for those agents. Sounds
Absolutely.
you have done a lot of talent intelligence hub implementation and you're not just talking strategy, you are on the ground. Tell me one misconception customers have about getting started with talent intelligence hub.
Customers think they need to wait till they've got everything in place,
Mhm.
right? Which essentially ends up being quite a significant long wait, and it's a missed opportunity. My previous comments around being able to define a business outcome, having the end user in mind are important. In today's day and age, I think with the fantastic SAP's open skills ecosystem partners, a lot of the challenges that customers would previously wait for 6 months or 2 years before they could execute projects like these, they are manageable and can be executed a lot quicker. I think even if within the organization, if you have the data set for a specific department, for a specific business unit, get started on the journey, keeping those prerequisites in mind around business outcome and end users, but get started. Because once you get started, you'll realize what else you need to do before you can scale it out and roll it out to the other to the remaining parts of the organization and really be able to drive that successful skill strategy.
But I always say start small, but start now. For the closing segment, I have some questions for you. What's that one trend you think in HR or talent that is overhyped today?
See, over hype, I am not sure. However, I would
Yeah.
say is tasks and automation.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
there's a heavy focus currently, and we're working on this as well around being able to break down roles and jobs further down into tasks. It's a very, very important element to be able to break roles down into tasks because it does provide the ability to look at automation capabilities and hence a massive efficiency as well as cost savings within organizations. However, I think a key element that's currently being missed out on is when you look at a cost efficiency, I think it's not just the number of hours it saves. I think you've also got to take into consideration the cost to implement those automations, the cost to maintain those automation, the technology that you need for that automation. So the task space, while absolutely instrumental to the future of the job architecture and automations, I think it's currently looked through a very, very thin lens. But I think it'll only be overhyped because it hasn't been thought about properly. And I don't think organizations are looking at a certain element of it.
Yeah, it's absolutely not overhyped. I was just smiling because this is exactly what I was talking to our product management leadership while I was in Palo Alto last week. We spent some time just discussing this aspect. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
There were some great insights, Sandeep. And in your website, you have tons of information about Talent Team. Customers know how to reach out to you. And is there any parting thoughts?
The only thing I would say is really important for to get started on this journey. I think the time to get started on this journey is now. If you need any help, advice, suggestions, I think you reach out, whether it's to support you with the implementation or just simply to you know, have a chat and understand what you're doing as an organization. I'm always interested in knowing what organizations are doing in the skill space. And I'm sure through a conversation, there'll be some value I'll be able to add through that as well. So always up for that conversation. But with that, I would say, I think, reach out if there's anything we can help with.
Yeah. Thanks, Sandeep. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for your partnership. And I look forward to maybe in a few months when your agents are ready to host you again. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay golden. Have a good one.
Thank you very much.